Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm going to share tips on how to respond to a job opportunity the right way, whether someone's looking for a freelancer or part-time help or full-time help. I'll also tell you some things that I've seen that you should avoid. And that's why I had to do a podcast episode about this, because I've seen firsthand how designers respond to a job opportunity or to a post requesting design help. Some do it well, and some make it difficult for themselves. Now, I'm not trying to shame anyone, not at all. I even made some of these mistakes early on in my career and also got feedback at some point about how to increase my chances of being considered to win the work. I've also been on both sides of the fence, the looking for work and the looking for help. And I want to help designers put your best foot forward so that you give yourself the best chance to be considered for any type of work. It doesn't matter if you're looking for contract work or a part-time or a full-time job. All of these practices will help you get a much better chance of getting work. So here are my tips to help you do that. The first is follow directions. Now, this might seem obvious, but follow directions. So many designers are so eager to reply, they overlook the details. What did the job ad or the job post say to include in your reply? If it says to include your resume and your rates and a link to your portfolio and answers to certain questions, do it. And do it all. And read it over and over again to make sure you don't miss anything. You might think this is trivial and that if they're interested, they'll just reach out for more information. Maybe, maybe not. They don't necessarily have time. A lot of times, the entire process is a test. At least with me. If you don't follow this part of the process, then sorry to say, you'll probably disqualify yourself. You just disqualified yourself by demonstrating you don't pay attention to directions or details. I always ask applicants to put something in particular in the subject line, such as a favorite color, typeface, or even food. I got that idea from Mike Killen. What's funny about the subject lines is that I remember what so many of them are, and it also gives me a chance to get to know someone a little better. But it's surprising to me how often this small request is overlooked. I even put it first in the instructions. And it's of the utmost importance to me and to many others that someone show attention to detail. So many designers say they do, but then they don't demonstrate it. You can't say you do and then not show it. Whoever is hiring doesn't want to wonder if you'll do that on a client project, when it really matters, when there's a deadline, and when there's money involved. Again, following the directions is a test. Anyone can say it. I need to see it. The second thing is personalize your reply. Simply replying to a job post isn't enough to get you a chance at the work. This isn't a lottery. Personalizing your reply is important if you want to have a chance to be considered and stand out. If the post includes the name of the person to respond to, or if there's a first name in the email address, you want to address your response to them. If there's a last name mentioned in the email address, you can use Dear Mr. or Ms., whatever it is. And if there isn't a name at all, you could address it to Dear Sir or Dear Ma'am, but avoid that if there is some semblance of a name. The other thing you can do is research and see if you can find the name of the person attached to the email in the post. And that could also win you bonus points. You can also earn bonus points and really stand out by doing some research on who you're responding to. Do a quick online search about the company and include something interesting that you found that you relate to or that you're interested in or have experience with. You know, maybe somebody there volunteers with an organization whose cause is one you're passionate about. Maybe they went to the same college or studied the same thing. Maybe they have a dog at the office. Now, I'm not saying go stalk them, but oftentimes on LinkedIn or a company's About page on their website, you can find interesting details in people's bios. The other thing is to write a custom cover letter. As someone who's done hiring, nothing's worse than getting a cover letter that has been clearly copied and pasted, the same one sent out to everyone and anyone with a job opening. I'm shocked by how many copy and paste template responses I've gotten. When I get a response to a design-related position that starts out talking about their experience in IT or administrative work or, say, video editing or web development, I can tell it was copied and pasted. They didn't take the time to tailor it to what I'm looking for. That doesn't help you. Anyone who's done any hiring is taking time to look at your letter, your resume, and your work. At least spend a few minutes tailoring your response. You want agencies and employers to take the time to review your work and your credentials, so give them a reason to. Otherwise, it says you didn't care to take the time to personalize your response. So why should someone take the time to check you out, right? Another thing you want to do is lead with relevant work. Show the work that is most relevant to the job at hand so that whoever is doing the hiring can see that you can do that work. That's their biggest concern. Do you have experience with this work? Do you understand what's involved in it? And can you be trusted to do it well? For instance, someone might be an amazing logo or web designer, but that doesn't mean that they'll be great at page layout. That's totally different. The other thing is that people have limited time. You want to make it a slam dunk for whoever will be reviewing your work to see that you can do that work. So demonstrate that first and foremost, that you're capable of doing that work. You also want to show your best work. Don't just provide anything and everything. Think quality over quantity. Showing a bunch of work just to show that you've done a lot of work isn't usually a good idea. And trust me, I've done it. And I get that not all designers have a lot of work in their portfolio to show. I very much remember those days. You might even try to overcompensate for that by showing work that isn't so great, just so that you can show that you have more work. But when you show work that isn't your best, it can actually hurt you. It dilutes the positive impression that the good work gives. And it can make it appear that the quality of your work is inconsistent, like it's a crapshoot. Designers and companies want to see quality and consistency. It could make someone wonder if you'll be able to deliver quality work consistently, or if that's more of a rare occurrence. Seeing really good work from a designer also tells me I can almost feel that they enjoy the work. And that's a very different impression than just seeing that someone threw some text on a page with an image. Anyone can do that. Another thing is provide context. Putting your work into context can make a huge difference. And by that, I mean explaining your work. What were the client goals? What restrictions, if any, did you have? Were you up against a super tight time frame? Did you deliver ahead of schedule? What role did you play? Did you do all of it? Did you do custom illustration or photography as well? Did you do any photo retouching, such as color adjustments or removing the background? And what were the results of the work? How did it do? Did the client get more sales from it? More event attendees? If so, how many or what percentage? This is all helpful information that will let them know more about your skills and what to expect from working with you. And nobody hires a designer just to hire a designer. They have an end goal. They want to make more money, or they want to connect with an audience, or something else. So put it into context and explain it. Your work needs to speak for itself because you may not get that opportunity. And otherwise you leave it up to their interpretation, which could work for or against you. Someone might assume you did more work than you actually did, and that might lead to disappointment if they hire you. Or they might assume you did much less than you did, which may result in them not hiring you. Don't be afraid to stake your claim on the work that you've done and all that you've done for it. Take credit for that. And my final point is about presenting your portfolio. When presenting your design work, put your best foot forward with a portfolio. Now, the best thing is to have your own website with your work and case studies. The next best thing might be showing it in a PDF or on a portfolio site such as Behance. But I do have some concerns with Behance because you're sending people to go look at your portfolio there, and there's other designers' portfolios there. So you don't want them to go looking in search of someone else's. I've gotten links to individual images in Google Drive or Dropbox, but that just makes it so tedious for someone to assess your work. It's time-consuming to click through individual images, and that doesn't include any information about the project. It's most helpful when the work is grouped by client or campaign and with an explanation. It makes it much easier to understand the work and see the bigger picture. Now, I talk much more about how to create an effective portfolio website in episode 52, 17 Essential Elements for an Effective Portfolio Website, so be sure to check that out. If you'd like one-on-one help putting your portfolio together, or writing case studies, or replying to a job opportunity, you can inquire about a mentoring session at creative-boost.com/mentoring. On a separate note, I'll be doing a free webinar called 3 Easy Steps into Web Accessibility and 3 Common Mistakes on September 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can register for that at creative-boost.com/workshop.